Hey everybody, welcome back to Prince's Friend, exploring music through Prince. I'm your host Aloy, and Happy New Year! This is actually going to be a really fun year. 2020 was kind of crazy. 2021 hopefully will be much better. In years previous to this one, I have usually the first video of every year is I kind of like to ponder. I like to think about, why we're here, why it's important, why this channel even exists. I feel like if you can't answer that question every year, then maybe you should not be doing that thing anymore. But luckily, there's still a reason to be here and doing this. In 2018, I did a video about why music is timeless and that there's actually no such thing as good or bad music. There's just personal taste. Everybody has a different ear. And that's why I don't really care if people come and say Prince sucks. It's just well, cool. You don't have to like him. I like him. So go away. In 2019, I did a video called What Is Your Why? And it was kind of, I'd been watching a lot of motivational videos at the time. And, I was kind of in my head, why is it that I even started this channel? Why we're here? Why we're discussing stuff? And then even at the beginning of 2020, I did a video called What Prince Would Have Wanted, and kind of just discussing the fact that a lot of people think that they know what Prince would have wanted, but nobody really knows because Prince was enigmatic and nobody really knew what he was thinking or what he was doing or anything. He was always, he was a game changer. He was always doing something different. This was just the beauty of Prince. So in 2021, I kind of want to discuss Prince's legacy as a whole as I see it, because a lot of people, if you say, what do you think Prince's legacy is, their first response will be, oh, well, obviously it's the music. He left so much music behind, and, we love it all, especially his 80s stuff. But, the fact that he left so much music behind, he was always recording, he was always trying to do new things, and the fact that even after his passing, we've had so many very wonderful, projects that have come out, releasing a lot of the music that has been in the vault, that some has been new, and some has been, not new, but some has been stuff that I had not heard, other things I had heard, but it was fun to have it in a nice cleaned up format and whatnot. We're already, we have a couple more videos left of our Sign of the Times review, so, because it's 8 videos, but it's really cool just to see there's just so much to talk about as friends of Prince, much more so, I look at other estates of artists who have passed, and they're the crickets, but they treat us good at the Prince estate, and they might not release what we want, what we're shouting at them to release, and they might not do exactly everything that we would like it to happen the way that we want it and stuff, and legal things, all that junk, but we've been fed. We definitely we're getting 2, sometimes 3 releases a year. We're getting stuff. So, the music is there. But I think that to say that Prince's catalog himself is his legacy, I feel is, it's a little limiting. That would be like somebody saying oh, well, he was put on this earth to write Purple Rain, and then nothing else matters. No, that it's great that he came and he did so much music, and we get to enjoy it, but the music itself, I feel, is not even necessarily what Prince's legacy is. Another aspect that possibly could be considered as part of his legacy is his impact on the music industry, where he fought for artists' rights and freedom to do whatever he wanted, make whatever he wanted. I feel like that was definitely an important fight. That Prince wasn't the only one to make that fight, but Prince was, I feel he took it in a completely different direction. There are a whole lot of other artists like MJ, like Smashing Pumpkins, who were fighting with their record labels around that same time. And, I think the 90s were just that, hey, record labels need to go kind of mentality in that time. And I feel like Prince was at the forefront of that. But to lay it all at his feet and say he was the only one fighting, that's a bit much. So like, I can definitely say that he is part of that legacy and a big part of that legacy, but I wouldn't say that he was necessarily like that should be his legacy either. Some people would say that his legacy is his proteges, the people that he worked with and made music with, and that they are continuing on to make music, and that's really cool. And yes, and yes, that they are. But you know, it's a limited number of people that got to actually work with Prince. I mean, and every other day we're coming out with another person who's got this was my interaction with Prince. I think I saw a thing that was like somebody came out and said, I almost recorded an album with Prince, but it never really happened. And I'm just like, why is this news then? Like, if you did record one with him, that's news. If you almost kind of did, but you didn't even actually talk to him or anything, like, why are we discussing? Why are we talking to you? I don't even remember who it was, but I just remember I was annoyed when I read that. But I feel like the Proteges they're a good like benchmark, right? They're where you can look at and you can see that was what Prince would have wanted. That's what he wants, is that he wanted his influence and his music to come across and continue on in the people that he tried to inspire to move forward. But for me, I feel like Prince's legacy, and this is something that has really only kind of hit me recently, is that he always was saying, pretty much his whole career, he was saying, you need to pick up a guitar, you need to learn how to play the keyboards, you need to pick up those drumsticks, you need to learn the bass, you need to learn how to sing, you have to do this stuff. He was music. And he said that, right? He said, I am music. But Prince was music. And I feel like that's what it was, is that he wasn't this guy who was here to write Kiss and then go away. He was music. And that music was supposed to be a muse to everyone to continue the legacy of music and of live music, of creating your own things. And I've talked about it a little bit here. I've made a few videos, but like a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, actually, Prince finally inspired me in my old age to pick up a guitar for the first time. And I started learning how to play the guitar. And then I got frustrated, and then I put it down, and then I picked it up again later, and then I put it down again, and then I picked it up again and put it down again. People don't know. I don't talk a lot about the fact that I was getting so frustrated with my lack of ability to play the guitar that I gave up multiple times. But about a year ago, I decided that I was not going to limit myself. I had music in me that I feel Prince put in me, right? Listening to Prince my whole life, learning his lessons and just all of this stuff, he put that in me, and he told me, make music. And I kept telling myself, but I can't make music. I'm not good enough to do that. And my attempts to learn guitar were an attempt to be good enough. And there was just a switch that flipped. And I said, you know what? I am good enough. I don't have to know everything all at once going in. Let's just do it. So I started a band called Strays of the World. And I've talked about it a couple of times here on the channel. It's been very much kind of percolating and marinating. So it's not something that is out into the world. I don't have a lot of, stuff to play or anything right now. But I started the band, I would say about 8 months ago. And it's myself and a couple of other friends that I've met because of this channel that are not like masters of music themselves, but they know enough that they took the time to start walking me through what it means to make music. Firsthand, I'm a tactile learner. Like, you can tell me and I can read it, but it doesn't mean anything until I do it myself. But what ended up happening was I learned so much from them, and it was so interesting that I then said, well, maybe guitar isn't my instrument. Let me try the piano. And I started excelling at piano. I got an app, that I could play, and it would give me like, responsive feedback. And they're not sponsoring this, so I'm not going to say the name. If they want to sponsor me, then I'll then I'll pitch for them. But I grabbed the piano and I bought like the cheapo piano. I bought like $100 piano off of Amazon, and I just started learning. And I found that the piano was, oh my gosh, I had always told myself that I would never be able to play the piano. I have little stubby fingers. I told myself the same thing about the guitar. But the piano is just so amazing, and it makes sense why Prince would always kind of fall back on the piano. Even in later years, they would say, how many instruments do you play? And he's just like, well, I can play a lot, but I mean, honestly, most things can be synthesized nowadays. So if you learn the piano, you could play any instrument. And I'm like, damn, man, you're right. But playing the piano starts teaching you music theory, starts making you want to dive deeper in. I picked up the guitar again, and I'm not like the best player or anything, but I'm not discouraged anymore because I've seen success with the piano, and I'm transferring the knowledge that I've gotten from the piano over to the guitar, and it's making so much more sense now. So I upgraded my piano, and I have an expensive piano now behind me. Not super expensive, but like more than $100. It was like $400. So, it's not like a super crazy one. A lot of Christmas money paid for that. And I also went ahead and purchased an actual Fender guitar, and it sounds amazing as well. And I've been writing and playing music constantly, I would say, for about the last 3 to 4 months. I've been playing just nonstop. I have, I don't know, anywhere between 30 songs that have been written. I think about maybe half of those are like in demo states where, I have the idea out, but we're trying to work through it. And it's just amazing how consuming music is. Like, it's one thing to be like, yeah, Prince would just wake up every day and make music, and that's cool because he's Prince. But if you really get into music and you follow what Prince wanted us all to do, then you would be able to experience that same joy of music. And I think that is Prince's legacy, is that he was kind of this shining example that if you were weak of will, which I was for the longest time, you might look at that and say, I could never be that. But the idea is not to be Prince. The idea is to strive for what he accomplished. So the idea of it is, and what I'm going to kind of throw out to all of you, is if you've ever been thinking of learning an instrument, learning how to sing, playing piano, playing ukulele, I mean, anything, do it. Even if it's just a hobby for you, do it. You're going to want to, because learning music and understanding music, I feel, makes you closer to Prince, and it makes you understand him, and it makes you recognize the humanity and what he had to fight through to do everything that he did do and all that he accomplished. It's just an amazing thing that I feel that as much as all of his direct proteges are his legacy, I feel like we are his legacy. And every time somebody listens to Prince and says, I could play that, I'm going to pick up a guitar, that's his legacy. That person who might not even know that Prince was the reason that they picked up that guitar or the keyboard or the drums or whatever, that's going to be Prince's legacy. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know about what you feel Prince's legacy is. If you play an instrument or have been thinking about playing an instrument, tell me about it. I want to talk about it. I'm going to put a link to the YouTube channel and the Twitter and all the stuff for my band, Strays of the World. We will be releasing music this year. there's a lot of stuff on the horizon. So if you do want to follow my musical exploits, I am going to try and make a separate channel for that. I don't want to bombard, I know you guys come here for Prince, but I feel like Strays of the World is such an extension of my love for Prince that I don't mind talking about it here, but I'll probably shift the actual stuff to another channel. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you always know when Prince's Friend releases a new video. And if you want to support the channel, follow the links in the description to either become a patron or a YouTube member. Otherwise, Happy New Year. May you live to see the dawn. I love you all. I'll see you in the next video.